Then we're actually going to get to an underwater part where we're actually going to have to use another one of the support characters in the game. Now when traveling through the level, watch out for the octopuses that throw out their shuriken or throwing stars right there. They can be pretty annoying. And then these enemies right here that throw out the multiple things of fire can be definitely annoying. However, if you're standing just next to it, the fire will go over your head. Now when I got to the end there, I just jumped off, because thankfully you don't lose a life there. You actually travel amongst screens. Some NES games allow you to do that, and some don't. However, in this game, it allows me to bypass a couple of screens pretty quickly. Now when I reach the water area, I'm actually switching to the fourth and final support cat that I'm using in this run. This is Spritz, who obviously can swim underwater. Now I mentioned earlier that each of the pizza cats have a different ability that they gain that levels up. All the support characters also have special moves that level up when you control them as well. Now here is our next boss battle. Now this boss is a little tough to deal with because it's a little bit harder to control. You can still force him to go in the direction you want to by hitting him. Sometimes though, the bubbles that he shoots out, the way that they bounce at you, you may miss a hit. You may attack the bubble or miss the bubble and take a hit and not get the opportunity to hit him. So you have to be careful, at least at the start of the battle, that you'll seem like it's just going to go easily. You'll keep hitting him and just bouncing him off the wall. But you got to be careful of those bubbles that bounce up at you, that you avoid them or you hit them as well. And avoid him when he comes back, because you can't always throw out your fists so quickly. Now stage number 7, as I switch back to Speedy, this is one of the more confusing levels. There's really not too confusing overall, but this is probably the only one that you could get confused with. There's multiple doors that we're entering. And really only the final door that we're going to enter is really challenging. There's actually 4 selections that you can make, and making the right one will lead you to the boss battle. However, if you pick the wrong one, you'll have to go through some other platforming. Now in this room, you want to climb up the middle one, because it's going to lead you all the way to the right. The other 2, even though it doesn't really make sense in terms of the layout, but will lead you to those 2 ladders there that just have no place to go to. Now travel over to this ladder. Now here is where we have to make our choice. You actually want to select the 4th door. So we pass the first 3, enter the 4th door, and then enter this door over here, and it leads us to the end part of the stage. When we reach the end of this room, we have our next boss battle against a vampire. Now she appears automatically in the center platform to begin the battle. You can only hit her when she stops flashing and actually stands on the platform. She then opens up her cape and throws out some bats. When she's on the middle platform, I just suggest keep hitting her, and you're going to take a hit from those bats, but it's worth the hit you're going to take. When she's on the far left or far right, if you have the shurikens or throwing stars, use them up first. You'll be able to hit her from a distance. If you want to, you can run in close and try to hit her as well. However, if you try to make it to her on the far left or far right, you're usually only going to be able to land 1 hit, and then you're probably also going to get hit by the bats as well. So it's probably best to just focus on the center platform, throw the throwing stars when she's on the far left or right, and then when she comes to the center, then unleash your hits. You're probably going to take damage, but you should have plenty going into the boss battle. Now this stage, I'm back to Guido, as I travel throughout it with our umbrella. When we get to this part, we're going to have to switch back to Miasma, so that we can dig through this wall, and then head up the ladder. Now in this level, there's a few different choices you can make in terms of the way you travel through it. I like to go down this ladder, making it into this room. You meet some items. They're available in the upper left corner. Then when you get here, you can go right or down. I suggest going down, and then into the left room, to an icy room. When you go through it, you have a choice of 3 different ladders. Choose the far left down-going ladder, travel down another ladder, and now when you get to another icy room, you want to head to the right. I am not sure if this is the absolute fastest way, but this is usually the way I take, and it seems like it's pretty much the fastest. There's some free health once you take out the shampoo enemy down in the water, so that you can refill your health before we go into the actual boss battle of the stage. Now this is a giant neck of the Bag Crow enemy. It's actually going to be our main boss of the game. this boss can be a real pain, because the platform that you're on, even when you're just standing still on it, when he moves, he's gonna land into you. If you have a full amount of health, which you showed from picking up that health upgrade right before the end, just keep delivering hits. When he goes through you, take the damage. When he comes back, then jump, and try to get 2 hits in every jump. If you time your jump and the pressing of the hit button at the same time correctly, you should be able to deliver 2 hits every time you jump. If you can only get in 1, take the damage, and keep repeating until he's defeated. Now this is stage number 9. I'm Polly once again. Now this stage's boss is probably one of the tougher ones to deal with. The level overall is pretty easy to travel through. As you can see, we're actually on the flying fortress that we're going to be traveling for the last couple levels through. Now when you get to this part, switch to Backcat, fly up, avoid the electricity if you can, go up the ladder. Now we have a couple rooms right now. This one's pretty easy to go through. And then when we get to the next one, you can use Backcat to your advantage to easily travel over the platforms. And you can see right here I can travel through, don't really have to land on the platforms if I don't want to. And then when we get in here, if you do have Backcat's abilities, you can fly over the green slime that will obviously hurt you if you land in it. Now the boss for this stage is a pretty big pain. It's a banjo-playing robot as I switch back to Polly. Now you can control it with your hits when it's in the air. You can pretty much force it to go a certain direction, but it's harder than a lot of the other enemies to control. Also, the music notes that shoot out from it can be a real pain to dodge as they home in on you and follow you around. When you're doing damage to him, watch out for the music notes, take them out. You can destroy them by attacking them with either your claws or if you have one of your projectiles. Right now I have her 2nd level projectile that I can throw out like a boomerang. That's definitely useful for doing damage to him while you're also avoiding the music notes. Take out the music notes as much as possible, take some damage, you're probably going to take a hit or 2, but avoid them more than actually focusing on just doing damage to him. Deliver the shots when you can, and you should be able to beat the boss without losing a life. Now this is stage number 10, the second to last level in the game, and we're actually going to have to use a few of our support characters in it to make it through. Here you want to switch to General Catan to break open the rocks. Usually I just take the damage right here, and then make it over to the far right and jump on the rock, or break the rock when I jump out, in order to make it through. Sometimes the rocks don't break, you have to actually hit them in the correct spot, which that can be a little bit of a pain. On the next floor up, we're going to switch to Meowsma in order to travel through. When we get here, we're going to have to actually switch to Backcat to fly over the spikes. And then to round up everything, we're going to have to switch to Spritz in order to travel through these globs of water that are kind of just floating in the air, these cubes of water, so that we can actually swim through them to travel easily around them. Now I'm going to remain as Spritz as I travel through this top area because we're actually going to need his ability to make it through the next area. Now here you can just travel through it. As you move your way down, you want to head to the right. Use the cubes in the diagonal direction to travel through them, and then travel through them again in order to easily navigate this room. Now here, if you need some extra help, jump up, swim through these cubes, and grab the full amount of health right there. Because we're going to have to use the Backcat's ability to fly up, then switch to General Catan in order to break this rock. Now that is the end of the level. Now here is our boss of the stage, who throws out these kind of bowling ball marbles at you that roll across the ground, as well as he's going to fire a fireball projectile at you. If you have projectiles to throw, use them up if you want here, or you can save them because this boss actually has 2 forms. Usually I switch it up. It doesn't really matter because both forms are actually pretty easy. The second form is a little bit harder. When you run out of projectiles, if you decide not to use them, just jump up and slice them in the face area in order to do damage, avoid the fireballs, and avoid the bowling balls, and you should be able to take care of them. Once that part's done, you have another cutscene, you get some health back, and now here's the second part, which is much harder to deal with. Use your projectiles if you still have them, if you didn't use them on the first part. But then you have to jump up and attack the center area that actually holds the person controlling this mechanized chicken. The fireballs travel up around you, and then as soon as they hover over you, then they drop down. So you can control where they land, but it's still very annoying because the chicken moves around along with the fire, so you want to move the fireball away from them far enough that you can get within between yourself and the fire in order to jump up and hit the mechanized chicken. Now it takes a lot of time and practice to get used to exactly where